Today on Comicstorian, in a full story, we're going to be covering Marvel Dark Ages 1 through 6. What if all of the electricity in the world was gone? This is Comicstorian. I take some of your favorite comic books, I give you the synopsis of the story, giving you bare bones information as to what happens. The purpose of this is to allow you to know what is going on in the world of comic books, so you can buy these issues yourself to get more context and more artwork, or get the next issues in the series. I then turn it into an audio drama, helping you guys pass the time. All alterations to the panels, text, images, and story are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Alright, so we started the story a little while ago and it just concluded, so I wanted to bring it to you guys as a full story, all the issues. Marvel Dark Ages sees the possibility of all of electricity being pulled out of Marvel's universe. And what we're doing today is we're going to tell you the core storyline. Now, there is a lot of side plots that do happen, explaining things a little bit better in detail, like what happened to Logan, what happened with Apocalypse and all of his followers. We don't cover that stuff, but we do tell you the core plot to this storyline, so I hope you guys enjoy. Here is Marvel's Dark Ages 1 through 6. It was a Friday, just a regular Friday. Luke Cage and Jessica Drew came by to see Peter Parker and MJ to just catch up. But that was when it happened, and the spiders felt it first. All of the spider people have a sense that detects danger so strongly that it can physically hurt them. In this case, it was a feeling worse than when Galactus was approaching the Earth. It wasn't like the Devourer of Worlds was coming to eat the planet. It was like he was already taking a bite out of the planet. Lunella Lafayette, Moon Girl, was next. She saw a pattern that no one else could. She hopped onto Devil Dinosaur and made her way to the Baxter Building. The world's smartest person on her way to see the world's second smartest person. The strongest minds on the planet, sensing it coming online. And even one more. Apocalypse. His mind touched something old and powerful, and he craved for it. As Moon Girl arrived at the Baxter Building, there was a tremor that shook the ground. Moon Girl said that these tremors are not normal. They aren't consistent with tectonic plate shifts. The quakes are too short. Whatever this is, they're being attacked from inside the Earth. That's when Reed's daughter Val said it. She thinks the world is ending. There was another rumble, and this time it wasn't just the Earth shaking. It was the arrival of the Guardian Uatu. Uatu is an intergalactic being of immense power who spends all of his time watching the Earth while perched up on the moon. He tells everyone that this is what he has been waiting for. The Earth has hours remaining. He explains that 10 billion years ago, a living machine was created. It was made to protect the universe, to stop entropy and consume black holes. But over the millennia, feeding on so much darkness changed the being, corrupted it at its core. It is now the Unmaker. And it was tainted and wild, and it began to unmake everything. The living machine unmade worlds and entire galaxies, until finally, this intergalactic menace was challenged and beaten by the Living Tribunal. The problem is that the machine contained too much power to destroy, so the Unmaker was put to sleep and imprisoned in the center of the newly formed world, Earth. This long-dormant living machine is waking up, and when it wakes to its full power, it will crack open the planet Earth and unmake this world and the worlds beyond. So a team was made. The living machine Vision to fight a living machine. Scarlet Witch, a shaper of reality, to fight against a being who can unmake it. Doctor Strange, a sorcerer supreme able to fight the pinnacle of technology. The Invisible Woman Sue Storm to protect them from the heat of the Earth's core, and the Thing, just in case anything needed to be solved by hitting it really hard. Together, these five traveled to the Earth's core, and they found the Unmaker. It paid them no mind, as if they weren't even there, and it continued to destroy the planet Earth from the inside out. Nepal, Canada, Atlantis, the world was shaken, and there was nothing that could be done. The Thing was the first to attack, but he was also the first to be literally disintegrated. Effortlessly. The Scarlet Witch attempted to reshape reality around the Unmaker, so the Unmaker simply unmade her. Vision in his anger entered the Unmaker's mind, but it only bought them a few fleeting moments. While the world around them was literally stripped away, Sue did all that she could to allow Doctor Strange the time that he needed to look for something, anything that could help them. And he did. He opened up a portal to a dimension where no electricity would function. An electromagnetic pulse beat at the heart of this realm, and the electrical being known as the Unmaker realized what was about to happen, and he struck, killing Doctor Strange. But the EMP had did its job. It halted the Unmaker. And with the last of his strength, he opened up a second portal to send Sue Storm away. But the problem is this. If a being of great immense power, a being known as the Sorcerer Supreme, uses all of his power to open up a portal to another realm, one with a constant EMP, that portal will stay open. This constant EMP wave grew and encompassed the entire planet and beyond, sending the entire world into darkness. Everything stopped. Power suits, switches, machines sustaining life and artificial life, even web shooters. Peter was on his way back home when he lost his ability to use them and went crashing into the ground. But that's not what he was worried about. He was worried about MJ and his daughter May. He rushed into the now-destroyed apartment building with Luke telling him that MJ stayed behind to help everyone get out, but Peter started to pull away the rubble frantically, calling out for his wife, for Mary Jane, and his daughter. And that's what he saw it. May, his daughter, had lifted up a rock, and beneath it was MJ and the other survivors. And now, as the fire crackles, Peter laughs, telling them that that was 7 years ago. They built another world, a world to be proud of. But years after the lights went out, after the end, came the apocalypse. After the world went dark, people were scared, and their fear turned to anger. There were wars fought over the borders, recourses and ideologies. Billions of lives were lost, and through it all a voice came, a message, and it started to spread. And it didn't have to be like this. It was telling everyone that there was a better way, a way to survive the Dark Ages. So some of the world's greatest minds came together at the Earth's new capital of Wakanda. Lunella, Shuri, Tony Stark, Valerie Richards, T'Challa, Nadia Van Dyne, Amadeus Cho, and Victor Von Doom, and they reimagined what this world could be. But in a world of darkness, that's when the Predators of the Night came out, in the form of werewolves and vampires. And while Wolverine and the others are taking care of the main packs, one happens to sneak into Tony Stark's workshop. It doesn't live too long before Captain America walks in, cutting its head off with his shield. You would think a brilliant inventor would invent a door to stop these sorts of things. How goes the alchemy, Tony? Tony says that he figured out how to turn lead into gold, which would have been useful when money was actually a thing. I never thought I'd see you so content. But I came back from Europe. They need our help. So as the two step out of the lab, Cap says that he seems pretty comfortable without electricity. But Tony tells him he does miss it. He lays in bed at night thinking of all the things that could transform the world that will never be switched on again. But are you here to ask me to go to war in Europe, Cap? Cap tells him no. He might have a solution. What if he told him that there was a way to switch on all of the machines running in his head? Tony asks how, and Cap pushes back the bushes, and we find there is Apocalypse alongside Dracula. Tony grabs a flash grenade, throwing it, but as the flash kills some of the lesser vampires, Dracula grabs him, telling him, "You are so good at killing. Some of those that you just incinerated have been in my service for centuries." Tony struggles, asking Cap to help, and Cap simply tells him no, cracking him in the face with the shield. As Tony falls unconscious, the image of Cap begins to fade, as Mystique shows that she had taken his form. Extraction accomplished. Later over in Europe, Tony begins to wake up, and Apocalypse tells him it's time to get up. His mind is beyond human. "I thought humans were the only species worth preserving, but that was a thought too narrow. You shall work for me now." Tony hobbles up, telling him, "Sorry, I have a firm rule against working for people who use slaves to build themselves statues." "Were your Iron Man suits not partly a shining tribute to yourself? Were the metals not mined by slaves in other lands? But come, there is something I wish to show you. There can be no progress in our world if it remains stagnant. It is time to evolve again." As Tony steps into a large facility, he sees something that he hasn't seen in 7 years. Electricity. He even sees Riri and Reed helping with it and asks, "What are they doing here? Everyone thought you guys were dead." Reed says that he's doing all he can to help in Sabanur. Tony then asks if he's being threatened, and Reed tells him, "No. We've been given a chance, Tony. Apocalypse has an idea to save the world." Tony's confused how this could even work, but that's when he sees the faraway cage. Immune to constant EMP, but every cage that he has built has failed. He's used adamantium, vibranium, and the electromagnetic pulse in the Earth is still too strong. You would need something magnetic. Something equally as strong as the EMP to repel it constantly. Tony looks up to see what's at the center of the Faraday cage, to see what is going on with the electricity, and he sees Magneto bound and forced to use his powers to maintain the energy. Apocalypse nods to Kilgrave, and that's when Tony turns to see the man with the purple skin. The Purple Man. Apocalypse tells Kilgrave to take Tony's mind, and with a simple gesture, Tony's mind is overpowered. Apocalypse walks off. I touched the mind of a being more powerful than a god. Then the earth stopped, and the being slept. I want that power. We're going to wake up the Unmaker. But back over at Wakanda, it was a sunny day when the determination of Johnny Storm's shout could be heard all across the neighborhood as he performs his most impressive feat, boiling a kettle of water instantly. The children all stare, and he tells them that he once burned so hot that he can melt through Galactus, with the kids asking, what is a Galactus? Before he could explain, Peter whispers, hey, it's a tea party for kids and their friends. No planetary threats were invited. Luke pours everyone a cup of tea, and everyone notices Jessica Drew returning home with a concerned look on her face. Everyone goes to Black Panther's throne room, with Doom stating that if Apocalypse has taken Stark, they need to recover him immediately. Johnny is surprised to hear that someone cares, but Lunella tells him that Doom doesn't care. Doom sees a threat, so Doom continues. We need to retrieve him. In the hands of Apocalypse, Stark is a ticking time bomb. Everyone do not worry. I have someone on it, Black Panther tells them. A few moments later, Quicksilver is running through Europe to see what Apocalypse is working on, with the intention of being so fast and getting in and out, no one will even notice. But he stopped when he sees how they are getting this electricity, how they are using his own father as the power source. Rather than running back to the others, he jumps up to try and save his father, but he's knocked down by the dome, keeping Magneto imprisoned before he even has a chance. Doc Ock says, shall we throw him with the others? And Apocalypse tells him, no, we will send him back. A short while later, Quicksilver returns to report his findings, but as he kneels before Black Panther, his eyes suddenly glow purple. He is now being controlled by the Purple Man. Jean and Peter are the first to notice how wrong this really is, but it happened within seconds. Quicksilver was just too fast. He was killing everyone. Johnny tries to stop him, but before he could even say flame on, Quicksilver stabs him in the back with a spear. At that moment, Jean managed to get into his mind to shut him down, but the damage was already done. Johnny was burning too hot. Sue ran over to her brother's side, and he told her that he can't control it. You have to run, Sue! As the flames begin to build up inside of Johnny, as he begins to go supernova, she holds him, telling him, I'm not going anywhere. I will never leave you. And at that moment, Sue began to focus all she could to protect all that she could. But despite her power, she couldn't save Johnny. As Quicksilver recovers, he tells everyone that he couldn't stop himself. He could see what was going on, but that's all. It was the Purple Man. Jessica tells him it's not his fault. It's what Kilgrave does. She knows what it's like to have him in your head. So Black Panther asked, well, what did you see? So Quicksilver explains everything. He explains the electricity, Magneto, the Faraday cage. He explains that he saw Tony, but he also saw Hank McCoy, Dr. Octavius, Riri Williams, and Reed Richards. Sue screams, asking what, which would be the typical reaction to someone hearing that their husband and son are still alive, the ones that she presumed were dead and missing for 4 years. Sue ran off, and Peter got to work putting together a strike force, getting ready to invade Europe the very next morning. But Apocalypse knew that this was going to happen, and he was already making preparations. And he asked if the three of them are ready. It's at that moment that we see Venom crawling out, but not just Venom, merged with the Carnage symbiote. And he responds, we are ready to hunt! With the world still shrouded in darkness, our heroes have managed to get themselves together to create a small beacon of hope, while Apocalypse continues his plan to awaken the Unmaker. Despite Apocalypse claiming the minds of several of their friends through the Purple Man's influence, it didn't stop everyone from ferrying people from the stronghold in Europe to Africa. Using the depowered shield helicarrier, hundreds work tirelessly to sail from one continent to another without electricity. With the help of Storm creating winds for the sails, the helicarrier makes its long journey across the sea, where they are welcomed with open arms into Wakanda. But even bringing over 100,000 refugees, our heroes' work isn't over. And there are still many more wanting to flee from Apocalypse's hold across Europe. Up on the helicarrier, Fury sighs, stating that they're supposed to go back, and get more people. But Sue Richards tells him that they just need a small ship from the fleet. Fury stops her there. You would be absolutely defenseless if any of the majors show up. Namor, the Raiders, any of the mutants. It wouldn't be much of a rescue mission if you all got captured or drowned. Nick then looks at Storm for help, and Black Panther says that the ship has steam engines. Aurora doesn't need, but Storm cuts him off, stating that it would take weeks without her. Their kingdom is threatened, and they will leave within the hour. So a lot of people say their goodbyes while loading back up on the carrier when Peter notices that May isn't there to send them off. He asks where is she, and MJ tells him that May is back at the house with Danny. She's scared. She doesn't want to lose him. So make sure you come back, Tiger. Once things are set, the helicarrier sails once more with its course set for Europe to bring back more stranded people. But while making the trek, Fury stops for a moment to appreciate how far they've come. He tells Peter that he's got to say it. He likes the world that they've built, and he's glad that he got to see this. It's worth fighting for. So as night falls, the ship is now 10 miles off the coast of Portugal. Storm needs to take a much-needed break. Down below deck, Dr. Doom says that this plan shouldn't be one of rescue. We should strike, kill Apocalypse and anyone loyal to him. We can take back Europe. Wolverine asks him, who would you suggest rule in Apocalypse's place? You? If I wanted to rule a kingdom, I would have taken Wakanda. It's far nicer than Europe. But just then there's a scream from above, and though no one knows from who, Peter already recognizes the voice. Everyone hurries up the stairs with May and Danny coming running out calling for their parents. Peter and Jessica are asking what are they doing here, and the two children state that they wanted to come but knew that they'd be told no, so they snuck on the ship. But the reunion is stopped short when both Peter and May's spider sense goes off. He looks out to a light on the ocean telling everyone to get away. But before Fury has a chance to react, a small fiery anchor is thrown through the back of his chest, pulling him out to sea. Everyone turns back to see the Ghost Raiders pulling Fury to their hell ship, and then them making a course straight towards the helicarrier. Wolverine and Honey Badger mask up, and Honey Badger tells Colossus that he knows what to do. They're gonna need a couple of fastball specials. As the claws come out, Colossus hurls both Wolverine and Honey Badger over onto the Raiders' ship to slow them down, while Sue stays back protecting the ship. But while the fighting almost seems in favor of the Hell Raiders, a large green monster bursts out of the water, separating the two vessels. May asks what is it, and Peter tells her, it's okay. It's our monster. As Ant-Man is riding Fing Fang Foom, he yells fire, and the colossal dragon rains fire down upon the Raiders' ship, smashing it with his gigantic claw. And with the conclusion to this battle having happened, Nightcrawler teleports both Wolverine, Honey Badger, and the lifeless body of Nick Fury back to their ship. And they add Fury to just one more name of a long list of friends that the heroes need to avenge. As the heroes reach Portugal, they bury their friend, a man who has fought wars for so long, but spent the last years of his life proudly building something better, transporting refugees across the sea away from harm. But while everyone takes a moment of silence, Deadpool walks up. Hey, welcome to Europe! Before I bring out the standard hats and accents, how is everyone on cultural stereotypes? Honey Badger turns, shouting for him to be quiet, and Deadpool asks, why are you being all serious? You guys, did someone die or something? He tells him yes, it was Fury. In one of the rare cases, Deadpool stops. I'm sorry, Fury was one of the good ones. After everyone pays their respects, there's still the question left of what to do with the children that's stowed away, which Peter already said no. Luke Cage says how long will it take for Storm to recover and for them to sail back? But Jessica tells him that she is not sailing. Storm tells them that they need to take every advantage that they can get against Apocalypse. If they free Europe, if they end the tyrant, the refugee crisis can come to an end. She isn't going to leave them. Peter tries to go to his daughter to inform her that he is disappointed in her. But Doom chimes in, stating that if May did not sound the alarm, the Ghost Raiders' attack would have been fatal for everyone. I myself am unused to being disobeyed, but it is clear that she needs a firmer hand from a stronger patriarch. But she did save us. We would all be dead if not for your daughter's insolence. Peter yells, I'm not disappointed about her saving us. And you know what? I'm not taking parenting advice from Dr. Doom. Jessica says that as insane as it sounds, the girls are better off with them. And Deadpool bursts through. Okay, it's settled. Family road trip to the heart of darkness, to the Deadmobile. So, Deadpool begins driving them to the heart of Europe, pointing out all of the monuments that people once thought were important, but realized couldn't feed their starving families along the way until nightfall. They pulled off onto a dirt road leading into a forest to lay low for the night when Wolverine smells something in the air. Blade notices her asking what is it, and she tells him that it's hard to say. It's a mix of scents, bitter, rotten, and she'd suggest whoever leaving those scents is deliberately doing so. She takes Honey Badger and Blade into the thick of the forest and stops a fair bit in, stating that it's above them. Get ready. But before she could even finish that sentence, 2 long red tendrils shoot out, stabbing her through the chest. Blade manages to cut one before being thrown to the side while Honey Badger charges in. Back at the camp, everyone hears the scream of Honey Badger, and Doom tells everyone to stay close. As everyone gets ready to fight whatever is coming out of the forest, the host of a mix of carnage and venom looms out there holding Honey Badger with her entrails torn out. His tendrils then launch inward, trying to hit anyone it can, but Devil Dinosaur throws himself in to take the blow, turning to chomp down on the Carnage Venom hybrid. After being spit out and cutting the spike that is still in Honey Badger, Deadpool runs over to help Honey Badger, asking if she's okay, because a lot of your internal organs are now your external organs. Honey Badger tells him that at least most of her important bits are still on the inside, and Peter rushes over to try and use his steam-powered webbing to protect everyone. But Deadpool looks up asking, "What the hell is that?" Peter stops him. "Can you not be yourself for 1 minute, Deadpool?" "Okay, but your new web shooters, they go thwop!" And Peter shouts, "Wait!" The symbiote hybrid keeps everyone back, and normally would be more than enough of a match for just one of them. But these 2 symbiotes in particular, there are a few things that they hate. They're afraid of fire, which Pepper Potts in her steam-powered Iron Man suit provides, hitting them with a blast hot enough to separate them from their host, then followed by an earth-shaking lightning strike from the goddess of thunder herself. And as the smoke clears, the host can be seen calling out to Peter. Peter realizes who the host of a Carnage Venom symbiote hybrid is: Miles Morales. As Peter's trying to comfort him, though, Miles informs him that nothing is going to be good. Nothing is going to be okay. He heard it all. He knows how Apocalypse is going to end the world. With an almost fatal encounter with one of their own, the heroes managed to survive the fight against Miles Morales while he was possessed by not only Venom but also Carnage. And after having the 2 symbiotes ripped off of him, he came back to his senses, telling everyone that they have no idea what's in store for them. You see, what happened is when the world went dark, he found Venom, and in the early days, they kept each other alive. But when Carnage came, the 2 kept whispering into his mind, and he slowly began to lose himself, which is how Apocalypse managed to work his way in. Doom asks why would the symbiotes work for Apocalypse in the first place, and Miles says, because Apocalypse found a way to stop the EMP. That is why he kidnapped all of the inventors. There's going to be a moment when the power comes back on, and he promised the symbiotes an escape from the planet before he destroys it. The next morning, Deadpool drives the bus into Paris towards the final battle, while Moon Girl and Dr. Doom began scheming a plan together on how they will strike. Doom looks over at the notes, telling Moon Girl that they need to be precise with their timing for this to work. "But you have a brutally effective idea." Moon Girl tells him, "Yeah, well, Apocalypse shouldn't have sent someone to hurt my dinosaur." With Miles and Devil still recovering, they were tasked with watching over Danny and May while the others get ready to storm Apocalypse's lab. As they walk closer, they notice a man ripped in 2, and Laura asks, "What is that?" Doom tells her, "That appears to be Octavius. He's been torn in half." Gabby then says that it's more like he's 2 quarter Aviuses, and Deadpool bursts out laughing. "I really missed you, girl." From here, everyone knew the plan. Storm would begin the assault before bringing down a hurricane that would disrupt all of the inside operations. But as she did, Apocalypse had already anticipated this attack and told Kilgrave to open up the cells. So all of the heroes that Kilgrave was controlling and Apocalypse had control over began to make their way towards our heroes, trying to get in and stop everything. A team of friend versus a team of foes who were friends. Sue asks, what do? They've got Cap and She-Hulk, and Doom says, "This changes nothing. Follow the plan." So the heroes did what they had to and went right to it. As chaos broke out, though, Doom had other plans, ones that he didn't mention to the others. Dracula attempted to bite him, but Doom grabs him by the mouth. "Stop, you undead idiot! We need to talk." Kilgrave, meanwhile, is laughing, watching the fight. "That's it! Kill them all! Split there!" But then there's a sudden bang, and Kilgrave drops to the ground, dead. Jessica shouts, "What the hell, Wade?" And Deadpool holds up his smoking gun. "What?" Gabby informs him that Jess and Luke were going to knock him unconscious. That was the plan. And Deadpool tells her, "Well, I didn't hear the plan. I was busy driving the bus." But oh man, I get a feeling that I just robbed Jessica of some much needed catharsis. We can start over. You can go kick his corpse. With Kilgrave's influence fading, the heroes found more of their allies on the outside and some on the inside, but they were no longer working for Apocalypse, which led all of our heroes to battle against Apocalypse. They all made their way there, all carrying pipes and whatever weapons that they could find. And Apocalypse laughs. Did Kilgrave fall? No matter! We have done enough and I can finish it from here. Thank you for your part in my evolution. As Apocalypse holds out his arms, he begins to try and crush everyone's heads, but nothing happens. His powers are gone. At that moment, Sue marches in with the others, yelling that he kidnapped her husband and child. He took Johnny from her, and he can thank the small force field around his frontal lobe that she has created if he's wondering where his powers went. But before Apocalypse could even react, Nightcrawler teleports in, grabbing Apocalypse's armor, teleporting out, leaving him vulnerable. Doom then steps forward, telling Dracula that it's time. This was Doom's way to take control of Apocalypse, sending Dracula in to bite him. Because how do you destroy the indestructible man? By manipulating a monster into making him destructible, to making him a vampire with a weakness. And at that moment, Blade jumps in, stabbing through Apocalypse's chest, pinning him and Dracula together, and with one final swing, Blade cuts off the heads of both Apocalypse and Dracula. With the threat taken care of, the heroes run in hugging one another, and Beast yells to get Magneto. Nightcrawler teleports away, and then it begins to hold the frail Magneto in his arms, and he weakly looks up. Scott? Cyclops tells him that it's okay. It's all over now. With Europe now free from the iron grip that Apocalypse had over them, the people get to work quickly removing all of the statues and monuments that have been made in Apocalypse's image. But even without power in the world, the heroes knew that they have something worth fighting for. That after the fall of their civilization came something better. And that concludes Marvel Dark Ages. Now, sadly, I don't think we'll be getting a continuation to this. I do not think this is going to be becoming Marvel's Deceased, as Tom Taylor has now signed an exclusivity contract with DC to do stuff over there. So sadly, this is all we're going to get, but I hope you guys enjoyed issues 1 through 3 of Marvel's Dark Ages, the loss of power in this world. Anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and I'll see you next time right here.